Boys and girls, Benjamin Bakchoy here. Welcome back to another episode of What the Hell Are the Rules to Ranked Online Races. So, as you can see, we are at Monza, and I'm in the setup screen right now. Can't load any custom setups. We have to select one of the default setups. Still a safety license, still in Silver 1, so nothing's changed from the last two races that I've done. But, as you can see here, can't select a custom setup, and we have to go with default. Not only that, but I'm not sure if I'm going to show it in the video here, but I actually checked the simulation settings, and once again, no contact on first lap was enabled in the simulation settings, and player-to-player contact off was enabled in the simulation settings. And you will see once the race starts, it doesn't happen. So because we couldn't select our setup, you see me fiddling with the brake bias and differential down there, and we completely screw up turns 1 and 2. Now I don't know if like random people in the lobby can select custom setups and other people can only select default setups, or if everybody only uses default setups, but it seemed like some of these guys were way too quick with the default setups, and they must have been using custom setups because they were just so much faster than us. Granted, I hadn't had any practice since like Wednesday, the day that I released the last video. I only did like 2 or 3 laps at each track in Time Trial just to kind of get used to the track really quick. But yeah, haven't played this game since like Wednesday night. It's Sunday night right now. I'm recording it, and just jumped right into the race. So I'm a little bit cold. I don't have custom setups that I'm used to, the oversteery custom setups. So I'm using an understeery. It's the high speed setup here, and so I'm not really comfortable with the car. Not only that, like I mentioned before, the rules are all screwed up. The race settings are all screwed up. I don't know what the hell's going on. And you'll see again in a little bit, tire temps are off, or at least the carcass temps are off. Surface temps are enabled, but carcass temps are just set to 100 degrees as the default. So again, it's like a semi-beginner friendly lobby. We only managed to qualify P10, or P9 I should say, just because we suck and we had to use a default setup. But yeah, really wasn't sure what to expect. And as we head into the lobby right now in the 5 red lights, this is Monza, so we're gonna have to be a little bit tentative. You can see from the rear view mirror we had somebody jump start, and then before we even get to turn 1, there's already carnage. I'm trying to avoid this as long as I can, and luckily for us, right before we drive into that green and black car, they all ghost out. But we dropped 2 positions now. We are in P11, and of course the usual mess at turns 1 and 2. Just utter carnage literally right away, but we get through it unscathed, so I'm fine with that. As you can see right now, 100 degrees the carcass temp, so we are only dealing with surface temp and brake temperatures, which don't really matter much anyway at a track like Monza. So going into the Lesmos here, I wanted to keep it down the inside, but there were so many cars on the outside as one guy goes off, and then Jesse TMB goes around us, and we moved up 1 more position here coming down this straight, and we're in a good position. The leaders aren't too far ahead. I just want to settle into this race right now. As you can see, we still have 97% ERS, so I'm not using too much battery. These guys aren't too far ahead, and I want to save the battery for later on in the race. So we're gonna not use any. We haven't used any on the first lap anyway, and you can see we're still right behind these guys. And so as we come into Parabolica, we got 1 car going around, another car slamming into him, and then quite a few cars peeling off to go into the pit lane in front of and behind us. So as we start lap 2, we have moved up to P7 without really having to do much, just avoiding carnage and staying out of trouble. So yeah, there you go, boys and girls. If you're going to take anything away from this video, just drive super conservatively on the first lap, especially at a track like Monza, where you know people are going to be jockeying for position on start-finish straight as soon as the race starts, and then going into turns 1 and 2. But we pull up to P6 here pretty quickly. Fanatec doesn't take us long to get on his gearbox. Doesn't take the chicane all that well, and I don't believe he's going to take the Lesmos all that well either here as he goes out wide. So I decided should probably get out in front of this guy quicker, or sooner rather than later. So we just turned on the overtake, but I think he's fighting it for some reason, as we aren't really closing in on him. And as we try to go and brake, we just brake away too late and go a little bit deep. But luckily, we managed to avoid contact there. Sorry, Fanatec, I didn't mean to just dive down the inside like a moron. And then, of course, Jesse DMB comes up from behind and just kills him, throws him into the barriers, and pretty much ends his day. So now I know I have to worry, or I have to watch out for this guy behind us, because he's not adverse to just driving into people. But we are in P6 right now, 3.2 seconds behind P5, and Wolfpack in P4 there with a 5-second penalty, 6.5 seconds ahead. So we're not doing too badly here. Leaders, again, not super far away. I don't think we're going to catch up to them, just judging by the qualifying times and how much further they are ahead already. I don't think we're going to be able to catch up to them whatsoever. But then again, a lot of the guys in the top 4 are on softs. I think 3 of the 4 guys in the top 4 are on softs. Jesse here tries to make a move going into turn 1, just bottles it entirely, somehow ends up in the gravel trap somehow. And we take the position back, but of course then we lost a bunch of time to P5, but we managed to get right behind him again. On the next lap, we closed in about 4 tenths or so to just about get within DRS. And as we come out of that chicane, we do get DRS going into Lesmos, and then we should be able to get it down the next straight. So lap 5 right now, as P5 goes out a little bit wide, which makes this overtake a little bit easier for us. We've got the benefit of DRS and ERS, and we should be able to get out in front. So as we brake for this chicane, I don't know what happened there. I don't know, maybe he just went in a little bit too deep and then had to turn left to avoid me, but then it looked like he was trying to dive it down the inside, and then somehow ends up in the boards himself. So that's one more guy out of the race. I don't know. I really don't know what happened there. I feel like I hit the brakes at the right time. So Wolfpack in front of us goes into the pit lane. He is carrying a 5-second penalty. So as long as we pit within the next 2 laps, we should be able to come out close to him, either in like barely in front of or barely behind. And on lap 7, we decide to come in. As we come around Parabolic, and we just lose traction there for a moment. Luckily, we were able to save it. Play 9134 in the lead is going to go for one more lap, as we have a few of the provisional leaders or net leaders behind us, and 2H2K, who we were behind, or who we just passed, or we were ahead of, when he decided to come in a few laps ago, is in P5, and we should come out right behind him. Actually, I'm not quite sure where we were in relation to him. But as long as we get out in front of Jesse DMB, because just the way Jesse was driving earlier, I don't want to be anywhere near that guy. That guy was just all over the place. So as we come out, we are in P5 right now, 2H2K in P4, both on the softs, and I think the leaders, or 2 of the 3 in front of us, are on mediums. So yeah, Play 9134 is on softs, and then the top 2 are on mediums. So lap 13 now, I'm just kind of trying to sit behind this guy, harvest a little bit of battery, and then make my move on either lap 12 or lap 13, depending on how much battery we have. But it looks like we're not going to be able to catch up to the leaders, as there is a yellow flag right now, but I think that's for a back marker who ends up leaving the race. And then 2H2K goes out into the gravel, out of the second Lesmo, and then we're able to get out in front with DRS. We don't even really use too much battery there. And then end of lap 12 now, we're just trying to strategically use our battery to make sure that we maintain a decent gap. I know I'm not going to be able to drop him out of DRS, but as long as we can maintain like a 7 or 8 tenth gap to 2H2K or ZHZK, I don't know what it looks. It's way too small on my screen right now. As long as we maintain like an 8 tenth gap, we should be able to stay out in front of him. And as you can see, there was a yellow flag right there in Sector 1, so the leaders got into a little bit of a kerfuffle there, and a little sign of things to come. So let's just keep an eye on this lap. We're on the final lap right now, about 8.5 tenths in front of 2H2K behind us, and he doesn't have DRS down this straight, but as long as we maintain that 7-8 tenth gap out of the second Lesmo, we should be able to maintain that lead. Now at this time in the race, I was fine with finishing in P4. as default setups weren't really our friend. But as we come out of the second Lesmo here, as you can see, it's just like bowling pins in front of us, just cars left and right. And then as we drive through that little curve there, 2 cars are stranded on the side of the road. We come down to the final chicane in P2 with 2H2K 8.5 seconds behind us, and we are good right now. As long as we don't make a mistake out of the final corner, we should be okay. Play 9134, who was in P3, is now in the lead, and we are going to take it home for a podium position here. But yeah, that's just kind of a confusing race. Like I said, we were still a safety license, still in Silver 1, and we couldn't use the custom setups, no tire temps. And again, the settings said that there should have been ghosting on lap 1, and there should have been no contact at all in the entire race. And obviously, there was contact. So I know that, I'm not sure if I mentioned it already, but Cody's released a patch trying to fix that issue, because that was a known issue in the game, where the game settings said one thing, and then you go into the race, and then the race is running with an entire different set of rules. And the patch that was released last week was supposed to fix it, but apparently it didn't, because as you can see on your screen right now, none of that stuff was fixed. Still couldn't select our setups. Contact when it was supposed to be no contact, and then tire temps weren't enabled. But anyway, I have no idea what's going on. And that's it for me, boys and girls. If you feel like I've earned it, feel free to leave a like, comment, or subscribe. Stay tuned for more. Remember to eat your bok choy, and I'll see you guys in the next one.